Right. Are starting in 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome back to the second part of our Games of the Decade. Again, I'm here with Prof,
Hi.
Marsh,
Yo.
and P&D.
Hello.
Okay. So we covered 2010 through 2012 last time. We're going to be picking this up in 2013. And this time we're going to kind of shift the order a little bit. So we're going to start with you, Prof, this time. What's your 2013 game?
There were a lot of games in 2013. So I have a variety. So first of all, indie game, Papers, Please. I know a lot of people have heard of it. It's kind of an indie puzzler, kind of timed. It's really weird. It's set in a fictional USSR, and you're a border guard. It's really solid. Uh, I recommend playing it if you haven't. It's not that expensive.
It's pretty humorous too, actually.
Yeah.
It's,
Georgie he's like Wild Tiger.
it's kind of like a spot the difference game in a way, where you said like, oh, this is what people have been using this sort of forgery lately. Be on the lookout for this. You have to kind of know what the ID should look like that they're bringing in from the different through
And
your
it gets
reference
harder
guide.
over time.
Oh yeah, I felt like it got hard pretty quick when I played it.
Yeah. And then also another kind of indie game, Battle Block Theater.
Yo. That's a fun game.
It's the same team behind Castle Crashers.
Oh yeah.
And Alien Hominid and a bunch of other solid games. They made a platformer.
Co-op platformer.
Co-op is an option for it. You could also call it a competitive platformer, depending on how you play.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, because P&D and I actually recorded that one. Yeah,
Us
that game was
messing with
fun
each
as
other.
hell.
I always meant to mess with the level editor in that one. Never got around to it. I know I've played through it a few times. A lot of fun. A lot of different weapons you choose. Your little customizable dude.
You can throw a paper airplane and then halt your friend's progress.
Yeah.
Or a bomb.
Yeah.
Or the fan. The fan's a fun one. You want to make that jump?
There's been I guess this was just a good year for indie games because there's another indie game that you guys probably haven't heard of, Antichamber. I don't know how I feel about it. It's kind of like a Portal game, except it's in 4 dimensions in that like where you go changes uh where the doors lead, kind of.
Oh, that sounds like it would break my
It's
brain.
Oh yeah, it 100% would. If I went and played it again, I don't think I'd understand how I got through it. It's amazing and awful at the same time. Uh, it's very good at just confusing the shit out of you.
Yeah,
'Cause-
sounds about right.
Yeah,
Those
and
games
then
can be really hit or miss with that because there's a fine line between being clever and being esoteric to the point of not making or obtuse. Or
I
it
think
doesn't.
it's just that like most people don't have the ability to think about it in the right way, which I definitely don't. But I still beat it, so maybe kind of.
Ish, maybe.
You had a moment where you could think like that?
Yeah. Eventually, you get to if you keep playing it, you get to the point where you intuitively understand, even if you can't explain.
No, at least you can internalize the logic.
Yeah. And then, last game of 2013, the reason I bought a Wii U, Pikmin 3. IMO, best Pikmin game.
Yeah, that's after like almost what 8 years, almost 10 year break in the
Yeah,
Pikmin.
because Pikmin 2 was out on the GameCube. They re-released Pikmin 1 and 2 on the Wii, which those are superior versions. So I actually have 1 on the Wii, 2 on the GameCube, and 3 on the Wii U.
And then they re-released both of them, I think, as part of the Wii Classics on the Wii U through the eShop.
Maybe. I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
Never looked
I
at
don't know about that one. And then they're working on Pikmin 4, right? They've said that, what, 5
Yeah.
years?
Yeah, so it'll be out in 3,
Pikmin.
maybe.
It's like a introductory to resource or unit management game.
There's a lot of quality of life that was really useful because, like, you have multiple captains. You've had multiple captains since 2, but in 2 the captains wouldn't do anything on their own. In 3, they'll take care of tasks autonomously, like picking Pikmin. Also, the Pikmin will repeat tasks if they can. So they'll, like, pick a fruit off of a bush or whatever, or a grape off of the vine, and then deposit it, and then go back to the grapevine and pick another one until there's no more there.
So,
And then you have to, pick them up from the grapevine. But
in Nintendo fashion, it seems like it's an introduction to RTS type games for people.
oh yeah, it's one of the best RTS games. It's just controls are not at all like an RTS.
Bounce on over to P&D. What do you got
We're
for
going to
20?
me next.
13?
All right. So I had a lot of games that came out this year, although all of them except one I played on not 2013. Although one of them was definitely Metal Gear Rising. So if you don't know about Metal Gear Rising, you take Metal Gear, throw most of that away, and you put in a samurai. Being
Ninja.
Raiden. And the game is just batshit crazy.
It's
The best way to describe it.
it's Metal
Isn't it-
Gear Solid by way of Devil May Cry.
Yeah,
Isn't it also like the most American thing ever at the end?
Yes, it is. He has a dream. That aside, one of the things that really did it for me is the fact that this game has amazing sound design. Because every boss fight has roughly 3 phases, each around 30% of your health, right? And the music ramps, the boss theme ramps up, and they each have their own unique theme. And on the last phase, it adds in lyrics, and shit just got real. That to me was one of the coolest things ever.
It's literally that meme about boss fights hitting the fan. Clear. Got it.
And it's just fantastic. Another game from 2013 I really enjoyed was A Link Between Worlds, which is my favorite Zelda game.
We have to cover some Zelda topics.
Yeah, A Link Between Worlds, because I also had not played I can't think of it.
A Link to the Past.
Yeah, that
Link
one.
to the
Thanks.
Past.
Yeah. So this had that same world, and the art style was
It
really
didn't.
nice.
It was very similar.
Yeah, it was similar.
I mean, you could easily tell it was based off of it, but yeah, it definitely wasn't the exact same thing.
I've played both. I've even played both kind of recently. I honestly think that A Link to the Past is better. There are just some things A Link Between Worlds does that I don't like. Mainly like the item rental and magic meter thing.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember stuff about the magic meter being bad, but I understand about the weapons.
So like every time you use an item, it takes up the magic meter, which
Yeah.
recharges itself.
I don't have a problem with that.
I just wanted to be able to throw bombs at everything.
Well, I
Shoot
mean,
all the arrows.
technically, you could just keep throwing bombs over and over. Yeah, I mean, it's a slower pace, of course, but you don't run out. Is the thing.
Yeah, and I enjoyed the puzzles a lot. It's one of the Zelda games. The only other one I can think of that's like this is Breath of the Wild, that just captivated me through where I had to keep playing it.
Oh, that's the goodest segues I've ever heard to Breath of the Wild that made of our list.
Oh yeah, I think it made 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, every single one of us put that in there.
2017's Breath of the Wild on Wii U and Switch. It possibly the biggest departure for the series since the 2D to 3D jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, let's do open world now. And they nailed it.
Zelda by way of Assassin's Creed. With a dash of, say, Skyrim in there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. As much as I don't care for Skyrim,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Combat actually
I don't
feels
either.
good in Breath of the Wild.
And
Oh
you
yeah.
have so many different ways to do everything.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want, and you know you can.
And if you see a point, you can get to it.
So
And you can't forget about one of the most important parts. You can shield surf.
yeah,
Yeah, that part was pretty good.
Breath of the Wild is one of the most tightest interlocking game of mechanics I've ever seen. So
Hmm.
you're out in the rain. Oh damn! I'm getting struck by lightning. I have a metal weapon. You can take that information to solve an electricity puzzle in a way that isn't
There
like
is a shrine where you have to get struck by lightning to enter it.
Yeah, there is.
I don't think I never actually finished the game. I did play quite a bit
You
of it,
don't have to
but
get struck by lightning. You have to put a metal object on a rock.
Oh, you can just throw something metal on top of it.
Yep.
I always just stood there and took the lightning like a champ.
shit.
but like some of the puzzles in these shrines, which replace the traditional dungeons for the most part as like micro puzzles, micro dungeons around single themes.
Yeah.
Some of them can be like complete this current by doing a bunch of different little puzzly things, or if you have enough metal weaponry, you can just lay them out to current.
Oh yeah.
The
Uh,
the
there's
fact that you can
also
cheese the game is amazing.
there's also things like guide this ball through this puzzle that you have to use tilt controls, or just flip the entire thing upside down and just yeet the ball to where you want it to go.
Yeah, I did that.
Everyone does that because guiding the ball is ass.
Breath of the Wild 2 is coming. I'm excited for it. Marsh,
Oh yeah.
any
Oh geez, I definitely need to finish Breath of the Wild. Then I didn't know there was a two.
I never beat the final boss, but I did do every shrine. I need to go back because I played it on my roommate's Wii U. I just need to go back on my Switch and play it.
There. You, yeah, it's just gotta get all those Korok seeds, dude.
Marsh, you got anything else to say about it?
Not necessarily, no.
Hey Marsh, we need to do our Master Quest race on our channel.
Another Zelda game that made a few lists here is Hyrule Warriors.
I mean, it's technically a Zelda game.
Yep.
Yeah, it's basically Dynasty Warriors with a coat of Zelda paint slapped on it.
Yeah,
I think it's easily the best Dynasty Warriors game.
I agree with that.
But Persona 5 Strikers might challenge.
Yeah, but it's not out yet.
I know.
So, like Dynasty Warriors, it's just hack and slash and slash and hack. But Hyrule Warriors, while it has all the hack and slash of a Dynasty Warriors, it adds in giant bosses. It adds in more strategy. The Definitive Edition and Legends, you can control multiple characters, which is why I suggest getting the Definitive Edition over the Wii U or 3DS version, because the Switch is more powerful, can render more dudes, and it has all the upgrades that Legends had over
Yep.
the original game.
Real quick, Dynasty Warriors, or Hyrule Warriors, excuse me, was on Marsh's 2014 list. The definitive edition made Prof's 20.
I mean, I could have put all three versions because I have all three versions because I have a problem, but I stuck with just one.
Yeah,
You could get hundreds, if not thousands, of hours in Hyrule Warriors. Which, if you're the kind of person that really likes the gameplay, it's amazing. If you don't really like the gameplay, don't get it, because the gameplay doesn't change. That's just Dynasty Warriors in a nutshell, though.
oh yeah, definitely.
Good.
All right.
Not time waster, but the engaging simulator is how I'm gonna put it.
P&D, we're on your last game of 20.
Okay, so this game I'm gonna treat, for sake of time, I'm gonna trade all four of the games that are related to this, even though Prof's gonna get mad at me that I have four related to this. The Trails of Cold Steel series, as well as the Sky series, but I'm just gonna treat them as the Legend of Heroes, because that's their formal name. This game series I started this year, or last year. Wow, it's not 2019 anymore. In this game, this is a currently 9 game RPG series within one story, and each game's about 80 hours each worth of gameplay. And you might think, wow, that's overwhelming, and like to some people it is. But as soon as you start playing the games, you can't stop. These games have captivated me so much because of their amazing world building, as well as each character is unique and actually does something, which is hard to say for a series that has, I think, like 100 characters, and they all like uniquely do something except Gaius. But like that's okay. There's one, but the entire game starts out as something you think you know, and then it throws everything away, give you an experience where you're just rooting for the characters and don't want to stop. It also combines a whole bunch of RPG elements that at least I hadn't done a whole bunch of RPG games where it's a grid per sorts, and the way you attack moves you on that grid.
So like tactics.
Yeah, but not quite.
It's kind of closer to the Radiant Historia type of the DS and 3D, but not quite the same. It's a mixture between a Fire Emblem, but part of it's also managing like enemy positioning.
Yeah. If you think of it like a Tales game, except for one character goes at a time, and each move has its own range. It costs so much for different types of systems on there. I just love the series. I am buying Cold Steel 3 times because they decided to come out with a PC port and a Switch port on top of the PS4 port. I might also have a problem.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's obvious, but that has nothing to do with good games.
I recommend this entire series to everyone I talk to. If I were to treat this series as one game, it would be my game of my life currently. So, but yeah, I won't go into 30 minutes of me talking about it.
Strong consideration for those for. All right,
And then P&D just makes his own solo video talking about the game series
I might.
and he
for
could.
an hour.
Marsh, like you have one unnamed game on the list for 2013.
Ah, yes, South Park, Stick of Truth. Yeah, it's been a bit since I've actually played that, so I don't remember a whole heck of a lot about it. But, I mean, I gotta say the biggest part I thoroughly enjoyed about it was the way the game was built. It was essentially just like playing an episode of South Park. Like, you
It was
almost
like
wouldn't know
playing
it
a
was a
season
game.
of South Park.
That's true, that's true. It was, yeah, pretty long, but it's like the RPG elements to the game as well as the just the way the game was set up. It was just beautifully done, which honestly you wouldn't really expect a whole lot of that from a South Park game, or at least you wouldn't think to expect that. But
It was weird because it's both a mockery and a love letter to traditional RPG mechanics.
oh yeah, definitely, it rides the line on that quite well.
Yeah, I'm not even a fan of South Park, but I really enjoyed Stick of Truth. The humor wasn't for me, but I'm not a fan of South Park's humor, so
Right,
that's why.
but even not being a fan of South Park, you enjoyed the game.
Yeah, because the gameplay is very good.
Oh yeah,
And even without enjoying all of South Park's humor, there's some humor that I still liked.
oh yeah, exactly. You're gonna find something in there because they do
That-
cover a wide range.
Like the follow up to that 27 Fractured Butthole is on your list too.
Yes, it is. It was another one made just like that. It was made as literally a sequel because the very beginning of the game is basically treating it like the end of the Stick of Truth series. Gameplay was a little bit different with this one, and the first one I don't remember how the battle system was set up, but I want to say you had more than one person on your team, whereas this one was kind of set up like kind of like a Paper Mario, where you have your main character and then your sidekick, who you can swap around, and they have different skills that you can use when you're walking around and need to do things in certain dungeons, like you need to break down a wall to get through or some shit. You have to switch to a certain person in order to be able to do that. It was just like Stick of Truth, built very well. And
Stick of Truth was taking their like fantasy counterparts, and this takes their super.
oh yeah, That
ego,
is a
like
beekeeper.
alter ego.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
what's another big difference? Just the theme.
Exactly. But it still essentially works in a lot of the same ways.
I should
But
really play through that game.
yeah, it's pretty good. I actually need to go back and probably restart it and finish it because I never actually did finish it.
Then my games for this year for 2013. We're gonna start with Path of Exile, which for a time was the best Diablo 2 clone. I said that about Torchlight. I shouldn't say the best because Torchlight 2 and Path of Exile did a lot of really interesting things. Path of Exile did one of the most interesting things I've seen in a game at the time, in that your skills are determined by what you socket in equipment. Some link slots let you modify so you can make a bigger area of effect, what have you. Cool action RPG, no money, it's just barter in a way that you collect certain items, combine them to better items, trade for things. Really, really cool introduction to the action RPG. Released in 2012, still getting major updates. Highly recommend. Rayman Legend,
Yo,
one of the better 2D platformers I've. Great sense of feel, good momentum.
Rayman Legends is a fantastic game. I apparently got the year wrong.
It's got rhythm boss fights too,
Oh yeah, it
where
does.
they're just like levels that you're playing, almost like a Guitar Hero type thing, where it's the level setup in tune with. It's like a very good Mario Maker level. Uh,
An autoplay
Feels great.
level where you have to do something.
uh, or composers levels too in
Yeah,
Mario Maker.
Yeah,
The composer levels are amazing.
I haven't played any of
Um,
those.
and I highly recommend that if you like 2D platformers. Generous checkpointing, so you never feel punished for missing a jump.
Yeah, it's very generous. Not that that's a bad thing, but
I think it's good to get right back into where you missed a jump in a platform instead of having to redo.
The entire fucking level.
I think it depends
yeah,
on the
you just-
platformer, but yeah.
I agree with Prof here.
With how fast Rayman is, getting right back into it, it just feels good.
That I agree with.
Yeah, if it's something like where you move really fast, you want to not lose a lot.
Gunpoint is my last game of 2013. I don't know how many of you have played that one.
Nope.
I've maybe heard of it.
Yeah, same.
So Gunpoint is a detective noir indie game where you have this tool that lets you rewire like electronics. So pull up this stealth game, but you have it like a light switch will open or close a door. A security guard's gun will, instead of shooting you, disable the camera.
Huh.
You can wire pretty much anything to anything, and your job is to get through the levels, get the information to solve the mystery, and get out.
It's kind of nifty.
It's really cool. It's clever. It's got an story. If you like the detective noir story, recommend it. It's pretty. It's only like 4 or 5 hours too, so it fits right in.
Oh man, it sounds like another game from 2013. It sounds kind of similar to Monaco.
Yeah, I debated putting Monaco on there, but then decided against it.
Yeah, Monaco is such a weird game. The biggest problem with Monaco is the difficulty curve. Just so random.
Ooh, trucking right along. Anyone any final thoughts of 2013?
It was a pretty good year for indie games.
I
Yeah, this is
barely
what
remember it. It was like 7 years ago.
indie games start to pick up on. I've had indie games on my list since the beginning, basically, but this is where I start to slot in more and more.
Oh yeah.
All right, 2014, Prof. Lead us up.
So I have a lot to say about 2014, but I'm going to start with the indie game that I have from 2014, Talos Principle. It's another first-person puzzler like Antichamber, and I'm actually going to talk about another one that's in a later year, just because I want to kind of talk about all three. So while Antichamber is about moving around in weird ways, Talos Principle is much more about just like using various tools to disable or reroute traps or whatever and getting items. And then there's Tetris puzzles, which everybody likes Tetris, so can't complain about that. It's a little weird with the philosophy in it. So if you like some games that have philosophy, it definitely has some. It can be hard to pick up on. Although you do hear the booming voice of God constantly, so yeah. It's also really hard to 100%. Like, Jesus Christ, there's so much to do. Some of the puzzles, like, if you're just 100%, if you're 100%ing it, some of the puzzles can be really just completely esoteric in what you're supposed to do. But, like, most of the game is very straightforward if you're just trying to beat it. It has multiple endings depending on what you decide to do. Very solid game. And then the other one that I want to talk about is a 2016 game, The Witness, which it on paper it sounds like it'd be similar to Antichamber and Talos Principle. You go around first-person puzzler. You're trying to like solve mazes, and the
Right.
different like colors cause different rules to happen. Shadows can affect things. It has a lot of great ideas, but the execution I just find really lacking because there's no explanation for anything in the game. So there are points like there's one set of puzzles where I am following all the rules that I know, but none of it works and I don't understand. And like there's nothing to tell me what I'm missing, and it can just be very frustrating at times.
Not a lot of signposts. Like,
There's zero signposting. You need to figure out everything on your own, which
Dang.
then it also has some issues with motion sickness, especially at the end because there are these columns that you need to solve puzzles on. So you're just constantly rotating around the column really, really quickly, and it's awful. Uh, so yeah, three
Imagine you
first-person
dealt with
puzzlers.
a good bit of that then.
I am never going to play The Witness again.
What?
Uh, there, 2014 for me though. There were a bunch of games that on paper I should like, but I just did not. So Borderlands the pre-sequel. I talked about Borderlands 2, which I didn't talk about the pre-sequel at the time, I guess, last video.
Nope.
The pre-sequel, like, on paper is Borderlands, but in practice is not. Like, none of the humor is there. Uh, it
the pre-sequel was handled by a different
Yeah, it
studio.
was
And
2K Australia, which some of the characters are just like a joke. Like, hey, I'm Australian. It's funny. Laugh, please. It's
I mean,
just
Please.
extremely heavy-handed. Uh, the mechanics are mostly the same from two, but they're just not quite the same, and it feels off. This
didn't like managing your oxygen.
Well, I played as Claptrap when I played it, which Claptrap is cancer in that game.
Wait, hold on. This character is a joke. I played as Claptrap.
I mean, I played co-op. I played as Claptrap to annoy my friend. Uh, what I didn't realize was that Claptrap would be just as annoying for me.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think he would be.
Well, like Claptrap's hero ability has a bunch of random shit it can do, and one of them is like everyone just starts bouncing a lot, uncontrollably.
Yeah, it does
So
sound annoying.
I didn't know that going into it. It's awful. Throw in the worst writing and just like mess story. It's not worth it.
Oof.
Another one that I just absolutely hated, even though I should like it, is Wolfenstein. I
A lot of people like
just
that one.
I just feel like incredibly punishing. Like, if you don't know something is coming up, it will just kill you. And it feels like it does a lot of really unfair things to you when it does stuff like that. And then it also had motion sickness issues, which with Doom, when we get to it, the Doom, the new Doom game, I didn't have motion sickness issues with that, even though it's the same damn game, kind of.
Probably the same engine too.
Yeah. And then Mario
If
Kart 8, solid Mario Kart game. They remade it on the Switch.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
not
good
really a
Kart game.
whole lot to say about Mario Kart, but yeah, it
Thumbs
was
up.
nice to have an online multiplayer Mario Kart.
Yeah.
It's fun. A lot of good tracks, a lot of interesting mechanics like the hovercraft mode.
Also,
Oh,
Link.
yeah.
Link and Isabel.
All the
The
DLC
Switch
tracks are
version has
amazing.
Splatoon characters, the Inklings.
And the battle mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, all pretty solid. 10 out of 10.
Fun game to play. I just wish the only one problem with it, and that's the Rainbow Road theme isn't like as banging as the Wii version.
This is- eh, Indeed.
Yes.
Or 2014.
All right, let's start off with Gunvolt. So, Zerstricker Gunvolt is a series made by Inti Creates. They have 3 games out in the series now, but so it features this blonde guy that can control electricity, and Inti Creates is the team that made the Mega Man Zero games, so it takes a lot from a platformer like that, but it completely shakes up how you would play something like a Mega Man game. It's not about shooting or slashing with a sword. Well, it's kind of like shooting, but you're tagging. Tagging is in the way you combat people is you shoot like little tags into them. You turn on electricity and you electrify them from afar. However, and the little field appears around you. But if the field touches them while they're in the tag, you do more damage. But it just completely shook up that formula, and it's a solid RPG, not RPG, platformer. It's an okay story, but the entire game, I just had a great time. I mean, Marsh got to experience the ending like 3 times.
Yeah. When you screwed up the first time.
And the second time. That's from our channel, but yeah,
Gunvolt was originally a 3DS game, wasn't
yeah,
it?
it was originally a 3DS game, and then they
Then did
ported
again.
it to PC, and then they made the Striker pack for 3DS and Switch, which includes Gunvolt 1 and 2.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's most of that.
And next?
Shovel Knight, which I know 3 of us have on our list.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the only reason I didn't put it on my list is because you guys already put it on. And you guys are going to say everything I'd say anyway.
Shovel Knight, it's an amazing, like, 8-bit. Is it 8? That's 16-bit.
It's like it's trying to be 8-bit, but it's
It's
mostly
retro.
like 16. Yeah, it's a retro.
Yeah.
But it was.
I wouldn't.
I'd say the
It's-
music was more or less like half 8-bit, half 16-bit. Like
It
that's
changed
what they were
between
going
them.
for.
So here's the like.
12-bit.
It's not 18 or 16
Oh, yeah.
bit sprite because those are way too detailed
Oh yeah,
for
definitely.
those. It's using the same colors though that you would find on an NES, except not limited to palette restrictions like the NES was,
Right.
where you can only access like 6 colors at a time or whatever, where you have your tricks. And it's also using, the same sound chip of the NES, I believe, but not limited again by you can only have 2 sounds playing at once.
Huh. I did not know that.
Adventure platformer.
Yeah. It's very similar to DuckTales in
Ooh.
how you play, but you have a faster attack button instead of Scrooge just like slowly whipping his cane.
That's because he's old.
Right. Well, we don't know how old Shovel Knight is. But regardless.
Yeah, but he's a knight, so he's obviously been training more. So he would Like even if he was like older, he'd still be better off.
Fair enough.
What's most incredible about Shovel is post-launch support.
Yeah, can we just talk for a second how they added 3 separate stories for free?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, because their Kickstarter thing, they're like, yeah, we'll add these extra things. And it took them a while because they wanted to make sure that each game,
Different.
deserved to exist, not just be like, oh, this is Shovel Knight fighting things in an alternate universe. So it's playing as Shovel Knight in the first one, then
Yep.
Plague Knight,
Plague Knight and
Spectre Knight, and then finally King Knight.
Gotta
riding
love King.
around
Oh.
on Spectre Knight's scythe was so fun.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of a mix between, say, the Castlevania and a Mega Man.
Yeah. Castleman DuckTales.
Woo.
Rocklevania.
Okay.
This made P&D by large.
Yeah, I also one other thing I did thoroughly enjoy is the multiplayer aspect that they added to it.
Yeah. we had a
Like
good time with that.
along with like how they had it on the Nintendo consoles, where you could actually use the Shovel Knight amiibo to make like a custom knight. I think one of the things I really enjoy about what actually it wasn't really what Shovel Knight itself did, but like how Steam set up lately, where you can actually play games that are supposed to only be local co-op actually online. I was actually playing that with P&D. We were recording that for our channel, and it's like there was. I mean, of course, you're going to expect a slight bit of latency at least. It, from what I could tell, it wasn't too bad.
Oh, we had a great
Thanks,
time.
Steam.
Heck yeah.
All right, Marsh, what's on your 24th?
All right. Well, first one on that list that I put on the very top was Duck Game. That is, I mean, heck, is best way I can probably describe it as Super Smash Bros. Except for ducks and guns.
Yeah, I would have just described it the quack, but like yours is probably better.
Well, yeah, mine actually has a little bit more explanation. Not just, I mean, it's a duck, they quack.
Not just a joke.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Right.
there is a dedicated button for quacking. So,
I mean,
yeah,
do you need to
we got
know
that.
anything else about the game?
Not necessarily.
We should play Duck Game again.
Yeah. It has been a minute.
Just put Duck Game behind everything in this video.
Yeah, basically. Let's see. Next one on here. Well, I'll dive into the 2 I put in there first. Suikoden 1 and 2. They technically came out much sooner than that, but that was when they were actually finally released on virtual. Well, we'll call it virtual console on PS3. I say it was basically a decent RPG series that didn't really last entirely too long. Like after 5 games, they essentially just stopped. I know they have a tactics game in there too, but it was actually kind of refreshing to be able to actually, get the game and play it without having to spend about $150 on getting a copy for it, because at that point you weren't finding it anywhere. It's a PS1 game.
Who had talked about Suikoden 2 being one of the best JRPGs ever?
Oh yeah, definitely. Suikoden 1 was it was a start. Like it wasn't fantastic by any means. Like the inventory management in that game kind of sucked. But it's like after that one, they realized what was done wrong and fixed it for 2. And essentially, since then, has been how it was set. Inventory management didn't feel like a fucking hassle. It was very smooth. And like actually setting up people's equipment, getting their upgrades, switching everything over, it felt good.
The main draws of the game, recruiting, your
Yeah.
team. There's like over 100.
Yep, 108 in every single game.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's a lot out of 10.
A lot out of 108.
Yep. But yeah, that's one of the main things. It's like some of the games you'll have a character that'll like give you hints on where you can find some people. But aside from that, like trying to find all of them, like especially if you're not using a guide, which honestly, if you're playing a game for the first time, don't use a guide. That ruins the experience. But yeah, it's like so many different people, and there's some people that are just they have like ridiculous requirements for just recruiting them. Some of them just like you have to have these certain people in your group. Some of them you have to be a certain level, so strong or whatever. It's actually it's enjoyable. I need to get back to that at some point. Play through those games again.
And for you, March,
Uh,
the last game of the year.
last one on there was Bravely Default, which
Like that.
I got some things I like and things I don't like about it.
Square Enix's attempt to go back to the traditional JRPG. A few tweaks.
Sort of, yeah. It was pretty tweaked. I mean, this was essentially one of those ones where you can change your job classes as you get them whenever you want. There's no like debuff or anything from changing the classes. So if you find something you don't like, you can switch away with it, and it's whatever.
Final Fantasy Tactics and Final Fantasy Job. Or Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I'd say it's more like 5, because Tactics was more like you get to a certain level with a job and you unlock other ones and stuff.
Basically, with that, though, you don't have the punishment for switching.
Right, okay, yeah. Whereas 3 is just like a big old middle finger. But, yes,
I remember Bravely Default made waves because it could change the counter rate.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that, actually. Yeah, you can
So-
just completely turn that off. It's like, I'm done grinding. I don't want to fight anything else. I just want to go fight bosses.
Or if you feel like, shit, I overextended in the dungeon,
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to lose an hour of progress.
It's like, bad day, bad day, bad day, bad day. Yeah, there was a lot of little things like that. That once again, that's another one I never actually finished. I got fairly far in it, but that is one I eventually plan to go back. But I also need to find my 3DS.
Bravely Default 2 recently now just coming up for the Switch.
Which
Yeah,
is
I'll
technically 3.
Right,
Yeah,
because what was it, Bravely?
Bravely Second.
Ah, yeah, Bravely Second, yeah. Yeah, never played that one, but honestly, I kind of got away from my 3DS after a while. It's like the biggest thing I think I played on there was Link Between Worlds. I even have the Link Between Worlds 3DS XL. That's literally why I bought the thing for. But yeah.
So what really, like, if you had to pick one thing that really sold you, Bravely Default, what would that be?
I gotta say, I think I like the default system itself, where you could either choose to like defend for a turn and just not do anything, and then save up attacks to like just go all out in one turn, utilizing like buffs and whatnot.
That kind of sounds like if a little bit similar to the Octopath Traveler
Yeah,
system.
that's where they got it from. Except with this one, you could overextend. So if, like, in the very beginning of a fight, you decide to do 4 attacks right off the bat or something, I don't remember if it worked exactly like that, but use more charges than you actually have, you sit a couple turns and do nothing.
Okay, you could accidentally overexert.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas Octopath didn't let you do that, which...
Save up.
Exactly. And you just buff up every turn you win anyways.
As long as we're on the topic, let's just jump ahead to 28.
Octopath.
Octopath Traveler, that's on you guys' list.
Yeah,
What do you guys say about Octopath?
I had a great time with Octopath. It's one of the few RPGs where, or not few, but like RPG where it like lets you choose what you're doing, but you're not at the same time.
I still feel like I need to go back and beat the last dungeon, but I love Octopath, but there is one large issue with it. You have to do so much grinding. So much grinding.
Well, yeah,
Like-
for some of the things, like some of the secret jobs, the
Even
hidden
just
jobs.
beating the game, you have to do so much grinding.
I never got that far.
I didn't
Like,
really need to
okay,
grind
I
that
should
much.
say, beating one character's story, you have to do so
Microphone
much
muted.
grinding.
Microphone activated.
I mean, I kind of disagree. I don't remember doing that much grinding in the game. I did have to grind for that big final boss though.
Yeah, I haven't beaten the big final boss yet.
Remember last we talked, I didn't know there was one, so I went back and did it.
Like, so you start at level 1, right, for your first story.
Hmm?
And then the second story, it's like you should be level 3. The third one, level 5. Fourth one, level 7. And then they're all level 7 after that or something. And then, like, the first chapter 2, it suggests you be, like, level 14. And then the first chapter 3, it suggests you be level 20 something. And then, like, level 45 or something for the final chapter. And it's just, you do have to absolutely grind between each chapter. Unless you're going around fighting literally everything along the way and doing full explorations of everything, you will have to grind.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, for the most part, when I'm going through there, it's like, unless I'm actually hurting, I'm not really running away from fights.
Yeah, I just search
I
everything.
wasn't
So
running away from fights. I just wasn't like going out of my way to try to find every single treasure chest.
Oh, fair enough.
So, what I played a little bit of the demo. I just remember it's a very pretty game.
Oh, yeah.
it's very
The
pretty.
environments and the sprite work,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then the macro sprites in combat, like the big sprite.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
then
yeah,
there's
it's gorgeous.
Your little people. It looks really funny.
Well, that's kind of how it always was in the older RPGs, like
No,
Final
yeah, I
Fantasy
know.
4, 6, 5.
Yeah.
I just wanted there to be not as much grinding, which I still need to do even more grinding before I go into the final dungeon.
Or like some toggle for like XP adjustment.
Yeah.
So they give you that.
I've never really minded a whole lot of grinding, but then again, I did play Final Fantasy 2.
Hurt yourself and then leave the battle.
Yeah, punch.
I'm gonna just do a couple fights before bed. Well,
I
that's
mean-
why it's great. Switch games are great. Just do a few fights before bed.
I played Final Fantasy 2 and just yeah.
Yeah.
You don't like that kind of grind.
No, I do not. 2 was worse, but Octopath still bad. I love the game though. Don't get me wrong. I just have one major gripe with it.
Was 28 Octopath Traveler. Kind of that same vein. Bravely. I only have one more game on my list. My list for 2014, Shovel Knight and Shadowrun Dragonfall.
Okay.
Dragonfall's acting like a stand-in for your Shadowrun Return series, like a kickstarted Catalyst. Right? Shadowrun Returns was a return for like proof of concept. Dragonfall is where they really stride. Isometric, kind of semi-grid based tactics game set in the Shadowrun universe. Perfect. Aces. Love it, love it, love it. A lot of the same trapping. That
I love the setting of Shadowrun, but I have never played any game in it.
Yeah, I haven't played any
God,
game
Shadowrun has so much cool. Ridiculous. Like a dragon became president and then was assassinated.
What?
Yep.
Yeah, and then he left a thing called Dunkelzon's Will, which fucks up the world in funny ways. It's just random shit like, oh yeah, I leave this first edition comic book to my friend, the Pope of France or whatever, to this leading actress who would I leave you this chain of restaurants of just like hot dog restaurants that I own because showed me the best hot dog in L.A. that one time I was there. This was the basis of our friendship. This company all these assets so they can overtake another company, things like that.
Sounds
Huh.
absolutely memes, and I love it.
Yeah, that's Shadowrun.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Jesus.
Shadowrun is cyberpunk or both tabletop and the game. Games are fantastic. So if you just want an introduction series, I'd recommend Shadowrun. Kind of the NES and Genesis games, or Dragonfall or Hong Kong. Jumping to 2015, off your game, one game.
And we all have it.
Yeah. Honestly, there was only one game from 2015 that I even remember playing, and it's Undertale.
Yep.
If you haven't heard of Undertale, what rock have you been living under?
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
If you haven't heard of the Undertale community, please stay under that rock.
Yeah, yeah.
The worst thing about Undertale is the community that is obsessed with Undertale. The game is very good. It has a great shoot 'em up style gameplay, which sounds really weird for an RPG. I You have to play it to understand it real well.
It's a bullet. It's the bullet hell aspects
Yeah.
of a shoot 'em up.
Oh yeah, I was just trying to think about that. I was like, how is it like a shoot 'em up? Okay, that makes more sense. A bullet hell. Yeah.
Well, one of the bosses you literally turn into a little.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Like
It finally pays off the whole like gimmick.
Yeah.
It comes full circle there.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say this: the ending of. I'm not gonna even name the route. It's just the ending of one of the routes because it has multiple. Well,
I mean,
a few drastically different endings,
There's
but
3 different endings, effectively.
effectively, what the middle one has a billion different
Combination.
differences, but nothing significant changes.
Right.
But the ending of the quote unquote good ending, well, the good ending, I should say, is the most triumphant I've felt in a video game, probably ever.
Maybe that was triumphant, but I definitely agree that it makes you feel good.
So I'm just gonna spoil it. You can go through the game without killing anyone.
Yeah, that's part of the trailer, so yeah, you can say that.
So the 3
And it's
endings
been
are
out for 5
Yeah.
years, so
yeah. The game's been out for 5 years. I don't care if I spoil it. It's been out for 5 years. If you wanted to play it, you would have played it by now.
It's
Like
it's feeling of triumph for me.
It hit me
the
in the
true
feels.
pacifist ending is fantastic. The genocide final boss, like when I
Yeah.
actually beat him, it was bittersweet because I did it, but I did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that one. Yeah, the final fight for the genocide run was definitely a pain in the ass, but
I
And
still
there's
think
me who
that
had a lot more problems with the
first
different one.
the first boss fight in Genocide was harder. But
what was that? No, that's not Papyrus. Or...
there's only 2 boss fights.
Oh yeah, so yeah, Undyne.
Yeah, Undyne's the one that gave me more trouble than the final boss.
I don't think she
Yeah, I
gave me more
remember that.
trouble. I just think that she's mechanically harder.
Yeah, because actually I remember when P&D and I, as well as another one of our friends, did a genocide race.
Yeah, we did.
That was a very time.
That sounds like a bad idea.
Oh, it was great. We actually, it was when we were using a different stream setup.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's even. Well, I knew what it was called back then. It was like Infinicine, but it's something else now. Where you could literally just all put your stuff into the same stream and just go. Made streaming multiplayer for like races and stuff on like one solid channel pretty doable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember Undyne was definitely a long one there.
All right, in 2015.
Huh? I didn't hear my. Okay. So 2015, there were really only a few games. This is one of the ones where I actually don't have like 5. Actually, it's the one of 2 because I play a lot of video games. One of them being Splatoon. So this is Nintendo's shooting IP, which because Nintendo, it's shooting ink at someone or at squids. Who's a
They
kid.
still explode violently.
Yeah. And this game was very different for me because I don't usually play shooters. But what really did this for me is not necessarily that part of it or like the multiplayer. It was the story. The story I actually felt like was really well done for a game that's that type.
Agreed.
Campaign of Splatoon also made my list as a spoiler, but yeah, like Splatoon games are wild.
Yeah. They're not how you expect them to be, but they make sense at the same time. It's the best way I can describe it.
Secret agent pop stars.
Yep. Yeah, and it's just a good time.
Final boss theme is possibly one of my favorite boss themes in games.
Maybe not my
One of
favorite,
my
but like,
favorites.
it's definitely up there.
Way up there. Multiplayer is cool because it's not. It doesn't require like twitch reflexes like a Quake, or it doesn't require the what you would expect from like a Battlefield or Duty. It's all about area. While when you kill an enemy, they do explode in your color to help paint the ground. You can go an entire game not killing any of the opponents and still score extremely high.
Yeah.
Back to that with some clever types of weapon that makes sense for the sort of area control.
Like an umbrella.
Paint roller.
Paint roller, a paint bucket, that all do different things, have different. Makes for a very interesting multiplayer thing. It's again very Nintendo.
Yeah, I agree with the phrase "very Nintendo."
It is 100% Nintendo.
And your other 2015 game?
Yeah, the Xenoblade Chronicles X. So the Xenoblade Chronicles series, this is the first game I played in the series. This being Chronicles X, which is for the Wii U. So this took the first game. It's like, hey, this is cool. Let's make it different, and it's basically not in the same universe. But the combat's the same, and that's an already amazing system itself. It's a lot of fun. You get to see a whole bunch of big enemies around, and you can't fight them or else you'll die. Because you just get a sense of the world, and get to, as you go, you realize that you can do more, and then you think back, you're like, hey, remember that guy? I can kick his ass now. But then, this did what no one expected from a Xenoblade Chronicles game. They added mechs.
A big old robot.
The mechs make this game.
Honestly, having knowing what I know about Xenoblade Chronicles, I would totally expect mechs.
Yeah, those games seem to get pretty wild pretty fast.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I didn't expect it. Granted, I didn't play the first game. That aside, the game it's just all around. I only have one gripe with this game, although it's a very big gripe, and that's that they didn't finish it. The story is a cliffhanger and they're never going back. They didn't finish the story. There's no resolution.
Wasn't there a DLC that...
Nope.
It was the performance patch stuff.
Yeah, they didn't finish the story, and that's my only gripe with it. But I had a fantastic time playing it. It's one of the games where I get it on like Sunday, and by Friday I have 60 hours in it, with school and everything.
It's another game that also used the game the screen of the Wii.
Yeah, because
Able to toggle through the different map styles.
and there's also a management system, so like you could mine certain resources based off stuff you got in the game. You can all manage that from the touchpad. That way you wouldn't have to like go away from what's going up top. Sorry, I definitely interrupted you there.
It's basically covered the same. Like I just remember having switching between the hex mode of the map to see what's in this region versus the overhead map that shows the general. I played a bit of it. I liked it, but it was enjoyable. Never.
That's an oof.
All right, Marsh. 1 to 50.
Alrighty. Yeah, this one was interesting. First one I had on there, Honey Pop.
Wooed.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. It's that and Bejeweled. It's like porn and Bejeweled. Enjoy. That's the game.
Porn jewel.
Match 3 dating sim.
Yeah, basically. Bought that when I was drunk and
Played it
yeah,
when
I'm
you were
not sure.
sober.
yeah, exactly. So that was fun. Actually, it did actually require a decent bit of thought to it too, with the girls and whatnot. But
I mean, it's a good thing it required thought because it was full of them.
yeah, totally. Okay, enough. That's pretty much all there is to that.
I'm sure I
Bejeweled
can make
porn.
other
Enjoy.
jokes if you keep going.
Oh, probably. But I'm just gonna mosey on past it. Let's see. So, two other games I got on there. I got Final Fantasy VI on the Steam version, which has gotten a lot of hate, as well as Fallout 4. Yes, Final Fantasy VI Steam. I think the biggest gripe that most people had is it was a lazy port, very lazy port. It was essentially just the iOS version, the Android version of Final Fantasy VI, just slightly redone to be put on the computer.
I just needed an excuse to talk about Final Fantasy VI.
I was just needing an excuse to actually have more than 2 games on here for this year.
That's
But yeah, I'm honestly just. I mean, the game itself is already fantastic. The main gripe I had with this, along with it being a lazy port, was the sprite work that they did with it. Like the monsters and everything, they looked phenomenal. But your characters
they
kinda
were
look like ass.
kind of like smoothed out, high definition 2D models that were supposed to emulate the sprite's color.
Yeah, it didn't
It
do it too
was
well.
kind of like cartoon blobs.
Yeah, it looked awful. Which I mean, I can get past that because the game itself is still pretty good. It's like just like the minor gripes with that. It's like look like when they're basically if they're facing the side, every single one of the dudes' chests are puffed so far out they look like they have bigger tits than the girls. Which I mean, there was barely a difference between them.
Oh.
I think
Plus,
the
there's
biggest.
mods to fix the sprites.
Oh, there are.
I believe so.
I will have to look into that then, because that'll actually make that version probably my favorite one to play then, because it'll be the easiest one to access for streaming it. Let's say another, yeah, with the, yeah, I guess that was basically it. The biggest gripe on there was just the sprites. It's like I like the extra content they added at the end of the game, the Dragon's Den. Planning on playing through that at some point. But yeah, no, that was all pretty freaking good. Just the sprites just didn't fit. It's like Kefka's laugh didn't look. It looked like he was maybe giggling instead of like actually. I don't know. It just didn't look right. And then we'll just kind of mosey right on into Fallout 4. I never beat the game. I probably put I don't know how many hours into that game I played, but I like running around shooting shit, building shit up, building towns, making my people happy so they get me more shit so I can build more guns so I can shoot more shit.
So you can make your people happier.
Exactly. Aside from that, I don't really have much else on that because I never actually did any of the story. But I did enjoy shooting shit and building shit up, so it was pretty cool. And the post-apocalyptic kind of like 50s. It was like, yeah, the game kind of had like a 50s, 60s feel, but it was also futuristic.
Like every
Yeah,
Fallout,
it's Fallout.
Yeah, I honestly, that was the first Fallout game I ever played. So I had
Oh,
no
yeah.
Fallout
idea.
aesthetic. Fallout aesthetic is 1950s, what with apocalypse.
All right.
I have versions of Fallout 1 and 2 that I could send you if you wanted to play them. They're more like tactics games.
Yeah, because they're developed by different.
Right, yeah, because Fallout 3 was when Bethesda took over, wasn't it?
Yep.
And then they proceeded to. Well, from what I saw, 3 was okay. I actually have that on PS3. I should play it at
I
some
liked
point.
3.
For the Bethesda games, the roaches aren't the only bugs you'll encounter.
In fact, the bugs far outnumber the roaches.
I played New Vegas on the 360, and that was such a buggy mess. I know a lot of people think New Vegas is better than 3, but not on the 360.
Heh.
I have one more game, 2015,
Right?
besides Undertale 2. It's Crypt of the Necrodancer.
The
Top-down puzzle rhythm game. Roguelike. You have to keep your multiplier, make sure you get money and damage and attack. You have to move on beat to the music.
pretty rough, but it's really cool.
Really clever mechanic. There are weapons that actually do more damage the higher the multiplier you get is. Other ones are based on like health. A lot of cool stuff. Really cool roguelike. Highly recommend. Great.
It is really good.
Uh,
I only got
if I had
to
played-
play the Cryptid Cadence of Hyrule though.
yeah, if I had played more of it, Cadence of Hyrule probably would have made the list too, which is just wild to me that even exists. That Nintendo's like, here, indie studio, take Zelda and mix it with your game.
Well, it's just like Hyrule Warriors. Nintendo's actually letting other companies.
Yeah, but Omega Force is actually a more known studio
Yeah.
that does the Hyrule
They
Hyrule.
do the Warriors.
That's why with this, it's just like they handed it off to an indie studio, and I'm really interested to see if they do that with other franchises. Can make other things. What if they gave the FTL people and Into the Breach people Metroid to do something, make something weird?
Oh God, I'd have to play that. I would have to play that so hard.
I was gonna say,
Like, imagine if they made a like tile-based card bounty hunting, like digital bounty hunting game.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
Where you actually doing bounty hunting as Samus.
Yeah. You could even get the bounty hunters from the DS game.
Yep. Like those guys could do some weird. They make some really. Giving them Nintendo gave them license. It'd be
I would play that.
rough. 2016. Fire away.
Oh, so let's just start with Doom.
Doom.
So there's been 4 Doom games. There's Doom 1, Doom 2, Doom 3, which a lot of people have very mixed feelings about, and the new
Final Doom.
Doom game. Well, Final Doom is just 1 and 2 with fan-made stuff added.
64.
Oh God, I forgot about Doom 64. I own it too.
That's coming out on Switch.
But so Doom, the one in 2016, which I hate that they keep using the same fucking name for games. Can we? I just want to throw that out there. Please just call it like Doom remaster, or not remaster, but like Doom reawakened, reincarnation, whatever. Just don't call it Doom. It makes me mad. It's a trend that I hate. Doom is fantastic. It's so like the original Doom was a fast-paced shooter, basically for the time. The new Doom is a fast-paced shooter for modern era. It's everything that the original Doom would have been if it could have been.
So, as the resident Doom liker, like I play a lot of like classic
I feel
Doom.
insulted by that.
Yeah.
You just play more Doom.
It's
than
not.
I do.
I didn't get to Doom 2016 until last year, until 2019, because I never really wanted to get it for the console at that time. I didn't really play it a lot, so I just and my laptop probably couldn't run it. So, Doom 2016 plays like a mix between classic Doom and an arena shooter.
Yeah.
Because it plays. It's also like a love letter to Quake and Unreal Tournament in that aspect, because a lot of the fights you're having with like big swarm fights are having wide open arenas with some natural cover pillars and stuff, but you're also doing the Doom thing of box sprinting around, gunning, and then finishing them off with melee kills. You didn't do the first one, but it fits incredibly. It fits the flow of the game, killing enemies to get with melee to get health and ammo back.
Doom flows so well. Like when you're playing well, it just flows.
It's a train. You can get into a trance-like state.
Yeah.
Because it's like, bam, shotgun, punch, melee kill, triangle, switch to chainsaw, take down a really big enemy.
Well, chainsaw is its own
Restart.
button.
Yeah. So it has a really good flow to it, fast-paced. It's antithetical to a lot of modern in terms of speed of. The closest modern game I could say that plays remotely this fast, from my experience, was Bulletstorm.
I haven't played Bulletstorm.
played it.
Doom, highly recommended. You can even play classic Doom levels in the game. Right.
Yeah. And there's so many Easter eggs you can find. It's just great. Opposite side of the spectrum. Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm playing it right now.
I'm not.
Did you ever stop playing it, Marsh? Since 2016.
Just been playing
Yeah.
Conan.
Played some Conan. Been playing Fire Emblem. We'll get into those. We'll get into that one later.
Stardew is Stardew is a Harvest Moon game, basically, with so much more than Harvest Moon typically would have.
Yeah.
It's
Harvest Moon, but more.
Yeah, it's just a fantastic farming life simulator game thing. If you haven't played it and you want something chill to do, pick it up. It's on the Switch. It's on Steam.
Pick
On
a
everything.
console.
It's that
Granted,
good.
the main differences between that. I mean, the consoles are all pretty much the same. They do get updated a little later than PC version. That's the original one.
That's just because of how updating consoles works.
Oh yeah, definitely. Another big thing with PC is the mods.
Oh yeah.
And I don't just mean like, okay, you get a mod that'll just give you all the items so you can just do whatever you want. Like, the only mods I have are purely cosmetic. I turn my
My
horse into a
cat is an
chocobo.
Eevee.
Yeah. This cat's an Eevee. I got a chocobo for my horse.
You have
It's like-
anime pictures.
Yeah, I still go through those every once in a while. Just find ones I like. But yeah, I just like purely cosmetic changes. Stuff that doesn't really break the game, change what
Yeah.
it actually is.
Or if you've played it through it a million times and want to change something up, there are ones that allow you to do that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't recommend them, but I really enjoy the base gameplay.
Another interesting. It's got the civilization effect that just one more turn.
Just one more
but
day.
it'll,
Just one
yeah,
more
one
day.
more day.
Just
It's
one more
4
month.
a.m. I might as well just keep playing.
Yeah.
has that same allure. Of, just one more day. I have to see if my crops come. Just one more day. I wonder what's going to be in the mines tomorrow.
On a similar note, there's Slime Rancher.
Ah, yes.
Slime Rancher is like a 3D Stardew Valley with slimes instead of crops. There is one problem with it though.
No
There's
multiplayer.
no multiplayer.
It's
Please
so
add
adorable.
multiplayer. I just want to shoot slimes at Marsh and P&D.
Yeah.
Is that so bad?
I mean, depends. Are they the ones that explode? Because fuck you.
I mean, I'm not gonna launch nuclear exploding slimes at you. Not at all.
He didn't launch at you. He launched at me.
Oh, fair
Exactly.
enough.
I'll just launch exploding ones at you, Marsh.
Okay.
The end of rough.
Yep.
D&D, what do you got?
All right. So I'm gonna start off with one that we can all talk about. So we have golf with your friends.
You mean
And
golf
friend
with
like
friends
some-
and friend-like substances?
Exactly.
Pretty much. I remember finding this game on Steam, and I'm like, "Hey guys, you want to play mini golf?"
They've added like 3 courses since we last played.
Yeah. I also
I've played the
remember
courses, but
this game is just,
Infuriating.
I don't know. I have a great
hilarious.
time. It's hilarious. It can be infuriating, but not that much.
Oh, it 100% can.
Oh,
Just
definitely.
random balls, double bounce, low gravity.
Cone.
Just
Game-
the game's physics itself.
The game veers between being enjoyable and infuriating.
I mean,
It all depends on the settings and the map.
Well, the physics and
it also helps if
I
you're
was-
good at it.
I did
the wall terrain.
I did one of the new maps, the space station, and
Also, some levels suck.
just with normal physics, I got trapped on flat ground and couldn't do anything. So some of the new ones are really bad.
Fine. But that aside, I can't think of many other games that all of us have gotten together and played well, not consistently, but a lot, and
Right.
all had a good time doing it, even if we got, Jama upset a lot.
Yeah, Jama gets upset at a lot of things,
I mean,
but
I
that's
got
half the
upset
fun.
with it too.
It helps because I'm
It's-
good at the game, so I'm just winning most of the time.
Andy, you're good at a lot of games.
It's still better than what happened with Ultimate Chicken Horse, where P&D doesn't tell any of us like any of the controls or anything like that, and he's played the game for 30 hours.
Have I
Yeah.
30 hours? thought I'd played it like twice. I just understand how platformers work.
But not how to build like the race to the parts and that.
I've
Anyway,
played it for 2 hours. Sorry, I had to
Yeah.
confirm that.
what's next?
Next is Yakuza Kiwami. Uh,
So,
so I got introduced to that in 2019, the Yakuza series, and since then I've played through all of the ones that are not all the ones that are in the West currently. And
yeah, you've played through a lot more of them.
Yakuza is just insane because they take you're in the Yakuza, and then they're like, yeah, now go beat people up. And I know it's not quite actually. There is actual stories to every single game they have, but what makes it for me is the side stories. Not even like the combat's cool. You can do a lot of really cool things with the heat meter gauge and everything they have there, but the sub stories. Okay, so this is a sub story, and I'm just gonna straight up spoil it. And sorry, not sorry. Um, this kid comes up to you. Someone stole a game from him. Go fight someone. They're like, oh, I sold it to this guy. And then you go fight someone. And then Kiryu, the main protagonist, is like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? He said, with my luck, it's going to be another guy. And it was another guy. And then he sent him to one other guy. And it was the kid's dad that was stealing it to get it for his son.
Because so they could play it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in Yakuza.
Yeah, it was. But just the example of sub stories, or of like in Yakuza Kiwami, if you go look up their toy racing, if Kiryu loses, it's hilarious.
He takes it so seriously. This little slot car racing.
Like, have you seen his face when his car goes off the track?
I actually didn't do any of the slot car racing. I just know in Yakuza 0, I just emotional with bowling.
Oh yeah.
So Yakuza Kiwami is a remaster of the original Yakuza game that was on PS2.
Yeah, it was PS2.
So that was a master of that. Yakuza 0 is a prequel story to all of them. So, and it was made as a it was, I think, the first one that was straight up released in the West without it being a type thing.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
It was.
Yakuza 0 is a great jumping on. It is an open world game, but the open world is small. So you actually get a for the streets of Kamurocho City main character. Very intimate, very busy, bustling. Feels like you're actually on the streets on like the Grand Theft Auto or things where like you kind of feel it, soul.
And then there's just people yelling at you and don't want to fight.
Well, I finished Yakuza 0. I have Yakuza 6 Song of I haven't.
I've
But
beaten that one.
good game series.
It's
Highly recommend if you third person brawler style game. You want to hit someone with a bicycle.
Alright. Then the last game on my list is Yiz 8 or Y's 8, but I call it Yiz because YS looks like Yiz 2.
You mean yes, B?
So
I always thought it was
this game, so
I
Yeah, I
think
think
it
it is.
series. Yiz series is it's an open world RPG JRPG. They let you switch between characters. They all each have different attributes. One of the few. This was my first entry point to the series. Actually, it was my second. I lied. But this is Yiz 8 is one of the. It's called Lacrimosa of Dana. It's definitely one of the most isolated stories that they have for their entire series, because most of them have a building off each other. But for Yiz 8, they decided to make something like that, and it's a fantastic. The gameplay is really fun. If you want to like mess around, they have an air dash. So if you jump off a high cliff, you can infinitely air dash. Like you fall down a little bit, but it looks really funny and kind of stupid. But the bosses are really cool. You feel a sense of accomplishment whenever you beat a boss. And if you want a really good theme, go look up Yiz 8 A to Z. 'Cause I had to stop the boss fight to listen to that because I could not pay attention to anything else.
harsh. 162.
All right, I got a couple different ones in this one. Um, Well, I say different than I'm about to say Final Fantasy. So, Final Fantasy Explorers, which is, hell, the easiest way to describe that is Monster Hunter with a coat of Final Fantasy paint slapped on it. You get different job classes you can switch between. You collect materials from monsters when you kill them to make new weapons and stuff.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
I missed this one.
Oh, you did?
I guess.
Yeah, it's on the 3DS, so it was.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably my only gripe with it. Never actually made it to an actual console. The handheld, I do enjoy those, but at the same point, it felt like a game that should have been on an actual console. It did have online multiplayer, but once again, you're working off of the 3DS. Not that great. Even with a good connection, it's not usually that good. Local play wasn't too bad, but there's a lot of things that could have been done a lot better with it. But I think the biggest thing was just putting it on the 3DS was probably the killer for it.
Yeah, that doesn't help a lot of things.
No,
Much
no,
as
it
I
doesn't.
enjoyed the DS, the 3DS is not as well, it's a different time.
Yeah,
Best way I can put it.
and then the yeah, we'll just yeah. There's not much
I
more.
tried to play a Monster Hunter game on my.
Oh, that sounds painful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like if I ever get another Monster Hunter game, it's going on a console. But yeah, moving on from that, the next one was Zero Escape, the Nonary games, which was actually two games together. The first one, which was 999, 9 persons, 9 doors, 9 hours, I believe, something like
I think
that.
it starts with
That's
9 hours. It's definitely those three in some order.
Yeah, I don't remember the order, but yeah, I don't think the order necessarily matters that much. Um, but yeah, it was basically just like it was a story-based game that had a lot of like escape rooms. I think that's where they got the escape from. You gotta go through, solve puzzles, solve mysteries. Another thing for this one was time travel. So you go, and basically to 100% the game, you have to go through every single possible outcome, and then eventually it somehow leads to the best ending. So one time someone might end up just killing you, just viciously murdering you. Another time that person ends up being your best friend and never does anything whatsoever to harm you in any way, shape, or form. Um, there's a lot of things in it that were actually quite surprising. And the same went for the second game, which was actually, I believe, the Nonary. Was it Nonary games?
I would not
No,
know.
it was VLR, Virtue's Last Reward.
Oh yeah, Virtue's Last Reward. Yeah, and I haven't actually played the third one yet. Zero Time Dilemma. I haven't.
Yeah, I
need
need
to
to
get
play
to
that
it.
one too.
Yeah, I mean, they all look good. Um, there's a good bit of voice acting in it, which did feel like it did kind of help. You didn't have to read everything, and actually gave some of the characters a little bit more character. Yeah, personality, that too. Um,
It's also really funny in VLR. Everyone calls you a perverted old man,
right, and
but
that's
you're not.
confusing until the very end when you realize you are in fact an old man.
You're still perverted.
Yeah, but yeah, no,
Solid.
those were all good.
The weird time jump things are actually explained fairly well. Like your weird time jump abilities are integral to the plot. So it's nice.
I've never played any of those games.
Yeah, I just watched
I'm not-
Josh play it.
Yeah,
I drop it periodically.
yeah, I would definitely suggest giving it a shot. Yeah, and actually, I know a couple people, a couple of our friends were tuning in just for that one game, which
Yeah.
surprised me honestly.
Besides June 2016 was FIFA 17. Surprise, surprise! It's a sports game.
Sports ball.
Yay,
I
soccer.
FIFA 7
considered making that joke, P&D, but I decided, I have more class than that. I'm glad you don't.
So sports games tend to come out like say the year that they're going to be for the upcoming year. This came out 16. The 17 added something that had been sorely missing since Blitz the League, probably my favorite sports game of all time. A story mode, like an actual factual main story mode that has plot and progression. That's not just random cutscenes like MLB The Show does, or random like, oh, such and happened. You actually following a player first year pros, develop his stats, train stuff like that. Plus, this is around the same time that I actually got into watching soccer for real, based on this game. So, good game for me. Not a lot of people are going to get it. That's fine. This started off the Journey series, which can for at least the next 3 games. As it gets bigger and bigger, start off at a small club, get sent down, start off at a major club, gets sent off to a smaller one because they don't have any use for you at the time. Happens all the time. Anyways, I'm not going to bore you all with details about it. So, good game. Moving right along. 27.
Yeah, how about you just start us off with your one game?
Hey, hey, I can start us off with his one game from 2017.
Yeah, most of my list has already been mentioned for 27. So go ahead.
Persona 5. If you like JRPGs and want to be an edgy boy who rebels against society because fuck society, while also, being a high schooler, Persona 5 is the game for you.
I mean, that's any Persona game.
But Persona
Also,
5 is the easiest one to actually get a copy of. It also
Persona
has
5
the best mechanics. Because,
very aesthetically.
oh yeah. Also, the music just slaps.
I'll get to finish it one day when Royal comes out.
Oh yeah, Persona 5 Royal is coming out in 2 months.
In March.
Yeah.
And it's going to have new content in basically a new game.
I wouldn't say it's basically a new
It's
game.
more like DLC.
Yeah, it's more akin to DLC.
Well,
Like there's enough
depending
to
on
like
how
slightly more than DLC. It's more like a season
an expansion pass.
Yeah, it's
this is
season
the
pass.
MO for Persona game. Persona games have done this since Persona 3 as far as
Yeah. It's
Persona
like
3
the third version
FES,
of a Pokemon game, except Persona. Also collect all the Personas. It's Pokemon. Except, doesn't make me sad on the inside.
except all of the Persona are based off mythology of different countries' mythology.
It's not just mythology, but yeah. Like,
That's a general like broad
based off
stretch,
of
like
basically anything supernatural. Mythology is more like
mythology,
ancient.
religion,
Yeah.
cryptids.
Yeah. That's why I didn't want to just say mythology, because cryptids are included. Yeah, you can you can hang out. You can bathe with old men. It's just a good time.
Makes you more charming.
Yeah, it does. Also,
The biggest
you
thing
you can join in the waifu fights. Like, who is the best waifu?
So that's the real defining feature of the that you split your time between slaying monsters, solving mysteries, whatever, and managing your social life because you derive power from bonds with social conflict. So
And you can just work on all of your social stats and be a perfect being, but if you don't have any friends, you're a loser still. Yeah, it's got so much in it already, and Royale is just gonna add more. I could go for a while, but I'm trying to not take up all of our time.
Your next game in 2017.
Oh boy, Ukulele. This game was hot garbage. It's supposed to be a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie, and like on paper it has a lot of good things, but it feels soulless and annoying
And boring.
And it adds a stamina meter to all of your like special abilities, and it's just
Boring.
awful to play. Like even the worlds are just awful to go through because like you go and get pages or whatever they're called. You use them to either unlock new worlds or increase the size of the worlds you've already been in, which opens up more stuff. But you increase the size of the world you've been in. Now you have to go back in there and retrek through everything you were just going through again. And it's just not fun. I know some people enjoy it. It's not for me, which I feel really sad about because I love collectathons.
You.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I
did
hear the
enjoy
new.
Banjo Kazooie, but after everything I saw about it, I never even bothered giving it a try.
I
I
mean,
hear the new
you can play ukulele through
ukulele
my
is good.
Steam.
That's true, but still, like I said, after everything I heard, I don't even want to give it a try.
Yeah, you
The
heard
new
me
one's
complain
a
about it a lot.
the new one's a side-scrolling platformer that's apparently a lot better.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got to
but I
play
don't
that
want
at
to. I don't
PAX.
want to. Like the first game was. I felt like so I was part of the Kickstarter for the first game, and I feel lied to from the Kickstarter. Like they technically met all the obligations, but
Sometimes development just falls apart. Yeah.
yeah, no, I get it, but that doesn't change how I feel about it, and I'm not gonna.
Hey,
Yeah,
I have a thing I backed in 2014 that hasn't released yet.
oof.
Oh yes,
At
Oh,
least Deer Simulator comes out in 3 days.
Ryamore, what a disappointment.
Ukulele is literally the only thing I had backed up until like a month ago.
I actually forget the name of the thing I backed that's still not out yet. That's how long it's been.
Kickstarter is
Back something.
bad.
I backed something called. Well, that's how I got Shadowrun Returns. So
That's
I don't think
fair.
so.
I mean, it can be good, but it's just also kind of awful.
Bloodstained Symphony of the Night. Or not
Yeah.
Symphony of the Night, Ritual of the Night. It's fantastic.
It's just so hit or miss.
Yeah, I was gonna say Symphony of the Night was well before that.
All right, P, what do you got?
I got, starting off, I got Near Automata. So, this game is weird, but it's so fun. It has an amazing combat system. It lets you switch between weapons pretty flawlessly, as well as boss fights are really fun. They also take akin to Dark Souls, how if you die, then you called you can go get your body back because you're a robot. And the way they manage your abilities is through memory, and like that's cool because you get to actually like put it in where like data would be, so you can arrange your data that way. And one of the most hilarious things
By
about
the
that
way,
game,
you're an android.
I'm an android.
Sad Robots, the game.
Oh, okay. This, yeah. Um, one of the funny parts is in your memory and whatnot, when you're selecting that, there's your OS chip. You can take that out to get a game over or to get an ending.
There's you can do a lot of dumb things.
It's just a lot of dumb fun. As well as the
You can-
storying is pretty engaging. So
You can also fight the CEO of Square Enix.
yeah, you can. You can do that in a lot of games like that though.
Yeah, the Nier games are all like that. Automata is just the most recent one and the one that's
Most accessible.
yeah, it's the easiest to get a copy of.
Well, and it's also been the easiest to get to as well. I think.
I'd agree.
Yeah.
Alright, so next on my list is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So I already talked about Xenoblade Chronicles 1 or X. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is the one that came out for the Switch. It introduced the concept of blades. Because previously in all of the Xenoblade Chronicles game, it's you and it's like two other people, and you're fighting that way. Well, this one allows you to fight with 6 people, meaning there's your main 3 people, and then they each have a person attached to them. And you get to control both of them based off the moves you're doing and how the RPG element works with timing, which allows you to pull off some really sick combos. The story is really good. Man, I just say that a lot, but like everything that's like good on this list is story wise, it just blows out. I guess I'm just touchy feely, but like at the end of it, I'm like, yes, Rex, go, and like slightly
Also,
crying.
Xenoblade Chronicles 1 is getting a re-release on the Switch
Yeah,
soon.
it is.
A definitive
I
edition.
plan on playing
Sure.
that.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick it up.
I'm probably going to. I might check it out finally. Because I know I've never played any of those yet.
It'll be fine.
You're the only one with games left right now. What you
Oh
got?
yeah, that's right. We already knocked out the only one you had left. Uh, all right. So, um, shit. I guess I'll just start this how I start every single one of these so far.
Final
So,
Fantasy.
Final Fantasy 12. Yeah, pretty much. If you can't tell, I like Final Fantasy. That shit's my jam, for the most part. 13, fuck you. But 12.
13 good. Not
We don't
Okay,
have
you're
time
allowed
for
to be
this
wrong.
argument.
Oh, I could go into, but that was 2009, so I can't.
Yay. Anyways, yeah. So Final Fantasy 12 was the Zodiac Age was a remaster of the Final Fantasy 12, which came out on the PS2. God knows how long ago, or Google knows how long ago.
2000. Yeah,
Something like that. It was the first one that actually really changed the battle system, if I guess you can call it that, because
it basically became like a proto MMO system with programmable ally.
yeah, exactly. So there wasn't like you didn't turn. There's no like transition into a battle scene. It's just you're running around, monsters show up, you kill them, or get brutally murdered, and
Not turn based, but you could pause action, issue specific commands to
exactly. So it wasn't. Although I think there was an active, you could set it either active or wait, just like the other ones, where if you're issuing a command, either time pauses or it keeps going.
Yes.
So if you're trying to make a decision, set it to wait.
Yes, that's what I did.
Yeah, same. That's what I do for pretty much all of them. It's like
Give me a moment.
I'm a little bit of a bitch.
A little bit.
So, I also played through this game this year, or today. First time I've actually finished 12.
I still need to.
Because
Because
it's because being able to play this game on Switch is a godsend.
fast forward button, go.
Not even that, just being able to set it down
Yeah,
and pick it up
that's
wherever.
true, too.
Or like that Switch is a great RPG.
Also, fast forward button to grind experience.
Oh yeah, totally gonna be using that.
So some people do crazy things with the Gambit system, which allows you to do rudimentary programming with your allies, like target allies or party leaders target attack, HP below 30%, cure, so on.
Oh yeah.
Mine, some people make really complicated. Mine is just hit enemy that I'm targeting, because I usually don't put any gambits on the leader.
Yeah.
I prefer to manually control at least one character.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then it's like, oh, have the healing spells. You're gonna cast here if we're below 50%. You're if we're below 40. You're a gut if we're below.
Being able to make the AI yourself was such an amazing part of the game. I
Oh,
just wish it was
definitely.
easier to get into it because you have to buy all the Gambit stuff,
Or fine.
and then you have to use experience to get more Gambit slots, which is a little annoying, but
Yeah, I mean, once you get to a certain point, it's like, okay, I got enough points. Here you go.
yeah.
I'll just chuck it in there. Enjoy my points. I'll go.
I
murder
spent most of the game with Ball Fear as just an item that doubles the L license point gain, so you can unlock.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's always a good thing to have with those. You can swap them around between the characters you're using. I think the only gripe I had with that is like even like if you only focus on like a certain group of people, like your other ones aren't getting any
You
experience
absolutely
whatsoever.
have to swap the party around a
Oh yeah.
lot.
They still gain license points, but not XP.
Yeah, they get and then license points do help them when you go to actually start grinding them again.
Yes. So another big thing of how Final Fantasy 12 changed the previous one, progression is done on the grid board where you unlock tiles, license. It was changed further in the Zodiac version, where the character could select a class now that had its own board layout.
Mhm.
Because before, every character could probably get everything on a single big board. But with this, be like, okay, start. You're gonna get the cure spells.
Yeah, you're gonna be a white mage. You're gonna be a black mage.
And then you get a
gonna be
second
out of my
class
party.
eventually.
Yes, you're a monk. Oh, you're gonna be front loaded with attack boosts and HP.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean the grid system they did with that was kind of like what they did with Final Fantasy X, but that one was more for actually just learning the abilities straight up instead of actually being able to unlock the like ability to use it once you got it.
Certain things carried over. Reset classes. Like if you picked a bad class, you could also reset.
Oh,
Get all
yeah.
your like
Oh, you can. Okay, yeah, that's the.
It's really easy to reset it too.
guild hall. Go talk to Mont Blanc.
Yeah, that's literally all you do.
Oh, cool. I actually did not know that. That
Yep.
actually did not work in the PS4 version, but it does in the Switch, which is why I picked that one up.
I messed up one of my characters real bad, and I'm like, okay, we're just gonna go and reset this guy. It was
Plot.
so good to be able to do that.
Plot is also one of the more grounded Final Fantasy plots, which is wild. It doesn't have as much Elder Vomit God
To
slang.
be fair, though, the
4K
main character
13.
also is completely unimportant to the plot. You can literally
yeah.
You
remove
don't even have to
him.
use him. My party for the entire thing was Balthier as the leader, Bosch and Ash.
That's because those are the main
Important.
characters, the true main characters of the game.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, people have described it as Star Wars by way of Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah, that's been described
Not
like that
wrong.
multiple times. Hell, there's even
Not wrong.
the Final Fantasy
Empire
12 in a
the-
nutshell. It goes off on that so much.
Yeah, it's basically the original trilogy. It's Star Wars by way of Square Enix, but it's not bad. It's
Oh, it's very good
You know,
game.
Oh yeah,
I need
definitely.
to play it more.
international politics like that.
Kill them all.
2017.
All right, so
Last
last
game.
one I have on there, since we've already talked about Breath of the Wild, Dragon Quest, and South Park. Actually, I already talked about South Park earlier. Was Dot Hack GU, the remaster, which actually was a little bit more than a remaster because essentially it's got volumes 1, 2, and 3 that were released on the PS2 back in the day. It's a single player game about an online game. Pretty solid gameplay, pretty solid battle. Always enjoyed that shit. I actually still need to get back to that and actually finish it because I have no idea. I still, up to this point, have no idea what the new stuff they put in there was. I say if you ever played a dot hack game before, I'd definitely suggest it.
I need to. I own it. I just haven't put time into it yet.
Do it. Do it now.
I played not the Dot Hack GU, but the other Dot Hack trilogy series.
Yeah, the
I
original.
have the first two.
Yeah, the original 4 with Kite.
Yeah, I only played the first two of that because they're hard to come by.
Oh yeah, I've got 1, 2, and 3. I need to get. But I'm honestly hoping they end up doing the same thing with that and redo that at some
The
point.
way they emulate an MMO in a single player game was really fun. It
Oh, yeah.
felt a lot like Final Fantasy 11.
But good.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 11 certainly was a product of its
It definitely was. And
pre-hotbar MMO game.
yeah, and actually having recently gone back to look at it, is because another one of our friends was doing it, so I was like, screw it.
Hey,
I
I
still have my
feel
account.
called out here.
I
Just
played on a
because-
private server once.
Just because
I'm
I
like,
tried out
oh.
11 for all of like an hour.
I'm like,
was
oh
so
right, this is
bad.
menu game based.
Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, I still have my old character, which I will never probably get back up, but I honestly have no idea how I figured out how to play that game.
I think it was worth trying, but it's not worth playing.
It was before MMOs really codified how they played, because MMOs now use hotbar icon stuff, and that one is more focused on your auto attacks, building up your gauge, your weapon skill.
Yeah.
Let's not talk too much about games that aren't in the list, though.
Yeah.
Straight up, Prof.
Uh,
2018.
so I'm gonna start with an obscure one. Donut County. You control a little hole and try to eat everything. It's like Katamari, except you're a hole instead of a ball. It's all right. It's not very long. It's more of like a story puzzle thing rather than Katamari, where it's just roll up everything. I kind of wish it had a little bit more, but it's all right for what it is.
I'd rather a game not overstay its welcome than, I'd rather
That's
be too
fair.
short.
And then so Marvel had its Spider-Man game on the PS4,
Yeah,
which I both love and hate the game.
I love the game.
How far are you, PND?
I beat it.
Okay.
I 100%ed it.
Yeah, I'm not going back to 100% it. No way in hell.
I've only played like an hour and a half. Good so far.
So the combat is a lot like the Arkham games, which if you played the Arkham games, it's a very solid combat system. The only issue I really had with it is that the enemy design is kind of garbage. They just keep adding in new enemy types that like are immune to half of the shit you can do,
And it's a
which makes
puzzle to figure it out.
it just makes it super frustrating because like okay, there's a jetpack dude and a shield dude and a sword dude and I can't use specific tools against half of them. But if Spider-Man targets the wrong one, I have to notice which one he targets. It's very frustrating, and that doesn't even start on the dudes with rocket launchers and guns
But if
that
they
you have
shoot
to
a
deal
rocket
with.
launcher, you just hit the two buttons and it sends it right back, and it's funny.
There's just too much that goes on in combat at the end. That's
It's
the
a little too
problem.
frantic.
The boss fights are amazing, though. Like all the boss fights are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the fight with Kingpin beginning of
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Kingpin is like the worst boss fight, and he's the first one. Every other boss fight is even better. I don't want to spoil too much
It does
about
cinematic
it.
very well in boss
Yes,
fights.
you definitely feel like you're Spider-Man throughout the entire game.
Yep.
I just hated combat at the end. Uh,
we have a game that's on all four of our
Oh
lists.
yeah.
Smash. It's
Smash all.
Hell fucking yeah.
best Smash game. World of Light is fantastic. I love it.
This is, I think.
Also amiibos.
Well, I mean, Amiibos were Smash 4.
Yeah, but this does amiibos better.
I mean, yeah, you're right. It does do Amiibos better. This is very easily the game I've played the most in the last
Yeah.
2 years, and it's only been out for a
Dwarfs
year.
my other playtimes on Switch.
I don't
have,
think
like,
it dwarfs my Hyrule Warriors playtime.
I think I have 430 hours now in it.
I keep meaning to start up casual arena with items on and stuff just for fun, but I'm forgetting.
The game
We still need
takes
to
what
do the
Smash 4
amiibo
was.
tournament.
It's basically Smash Bros, but the most Smash Bros.
Yeah.
And they have, after the 6 more DLC character pack. I think it
I'm
puts the
excited
total
for
at
5.
85.
You'll see his character's been phenomenal.
Yeah, I want to see how Byleth plays.
I'm so
I'm-
excited for Violet's Uppy.
I'm not like super excited, but like Byleth is
Kit
gonna
looks-
be a solid character.
It's gonna be so trolly.
Oh, I'm so excited. You guys know that down air breaks shields at 60%, right?
No,
At 60% shield or with
60%
60%.
shield. At least that's soccer I did in the demo. And I was like, oh
Right.
god.
They gave Warlock Punch to a sword. Okay.
They gave
they're not even just a swordy.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. You're right. Sword, spear, axe, bow. Thank you. They gave attack to a Fire Emblem character from Science Core.
Yeah, but that
I
is...
would actually be upset if Byleth was just a sword character. But
And I'm not...
We actually,
yeah,
That aside, that character was inevitable because of how well Three Houses did. I just thought it would be next DLC pack.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
I
what
kinda
most
saw it
people
coming.
thought. That it'd be the next DLC pack, and that the first one would just be third-party characters.
Now that-
Especially, like I think a lot of people were like, Byleth is gonna come out when after Joker was announced or whatever, and then after Banjo Kazooie and Terry and Hero were all put in the first DLC pack. People were like, okay, Byleth will be next pack, and we'll finish this with another third-party DLC.
Yeah, but characters aside, this game just feels so much fun to play. It's something I can play basically forever.
I'm
Right,
I'm
but-
really glad that they brought everyone back because beating people up as Pichu is always going to make me laugh.
Roy's our boy.
Yeah, I feel that, Marsh. Roy is our boy.
D&D
All right, so
20.
2018 was also one of the, I guess, resurgences of Mega Man, because it happened once in like 2009. 2009, 2010 was the last time a main Mega Man game came out on any front, I think. And in 2017, they announced, yeah, Mega Man 11. And this game takes what the old one was, and it doesn't just like retro bring it back. It further improves upon what it was. Because I know a lot of people have problems with when they just go back and forth, because like how Mega Man 8 looked and then they went back. But I mean, that doesn't bother me. But that aside, the game is so much fun. Every weapon in Mega Man has more than one purpose, and that's something that a lot of them did. But every single weapon, like if you're on the electric stage, you can shoot a rubber ball into lightning, and it'll get rid of it because lightning and rubber. And that's only one example. There's so many other things that they can do.
The power gear giving you a powerful version of that.
Yeah, and I was getting to that. So power.
The dual gear system, clever.
The dual gear system is really clever. The dual gear system allows you to slow down time, so then you can make more precise jumps or movements. It's kind of like it helps you do better platforming. And then power gear gives you more power through your normal buster, or it brings every single weapon to have a new use for it. In a more powerful version, it obviously uses more weapon energy, but it just provides so much more.
It's kind of like the upgraded Buster in Mega Man X.
Yeah. But yeah, it's fantastic. It has Wily Stage 1 is probably one of my favorite Mega Man themes.
I have to go back and finish it, I think, like Wily.
Yeah. It's not a long game, but it's really fun. And speaking of not long games that are really fun, next on my list is The Messenger. So The Messenger is a platformer that's like it's a Castlevania, but you play as a Ninja Gaiden character. And what I mean is a ninja, and they control decently the same, except for one pivotal thing that makes The Messenger really, really cool. And that's if you hit something mid-air, you get another jump. I think it's called cloud stepping, I think is what it's called in the game. So this allows for a lot more movement. For platforming, you actually can like continually hit something, so then you can wait for a cycle, or either that, or you want to just get higher on the map. If you hit enough things, you can go up high, and it unlocks secret areas and a whole bunch of other stuff like that. The puzzles are really nice, as well as after a certain point in the game, it starts off 16-bit, but then it goes 8-bit. For when you go, it's kind of like a time travel thing, like back and forth in time is between 8-bit and 16-bit. And it just does a whole bunch of cool stuff with that when you pass through it until you get to the end, and then it's just a fantastic time. Fantastic platformer.
Cool. Marsh doesn't have any other thing. Like his list was Dragon Quest XI, Ultimate, Smash Ultimate, Octopath Traveler, and Let's Go P2, Let's Go Eevee. So tapped out for the year.
Mark
I have
likes
3
RPGs.
indie games remaining on my list.
Yes, I do.
Really, most of us are to some extent.
True.
I have The Breach, Dead Cells, and Celeste on my list remaining. 3 by the developers of FPL. It's basically a tactics game, but it's also a puzzle game. It's a tactics game where you're given perfect information about what the enemy.
Interesting.
So, any given turn, like you'll start your turn, you'll place your units, and it'll say, okay, on this turn, enemy attack this direction. And a thing will either go until it hits a building, or it'll go until it hits the wall, or one of your attacks, or whatever. Job is disrupt them so you can knock them into each other. You have abilities that let you, because you have 3 mech, and there are several different that you can unlock. The basic one, you have a basic one, and then other ones you can unlock, and then eventually you can customize it and build your own team from different.
Oh, I played the
parts.
demo for this game. It's a fantastic little game.
Yeah, it's like a little, it's chess-like,
It's
And
it's
also-
like Pacific Rim if Pacific Rim was good in a video game.
It's very good. It's a roguelite. You can unlock new pilots through capsules you can find on maps. You have to just protect the cities from going down, and the power of the city carries over for the entire island. So if your grid takes damage in one fight, you have to preserve it for the next one. There are 4 islands, and you can head to the final boss area after clearing 2, 3, or all 4 islands. The more islands you clear, the more preparation time the enemy had, but the stronger you'll be. Getting more items and stuff. And up. So, like FTL, there's that trade-off element there of speed versus power. Really clever mechanical interaction, really clever. Having perfect information lets you think about what's going to happen on the map and gauge your interaction. Recommended if you like puzzle games and tactics games. Dead Cells, 2D platform roguelite, Metroidvania. Not really a Metroidvania, but it's a 2D platform roguelite. Really heavy weight your character, so moving around good. Unlock different weapons and stuff as you go, and they basically build a kit as you play. And great combat, great movement. That's pretty much all I look for in a game. Like, plot's kind of so-so, whatever, but you can unlock and upgrade things as you go. Again, a very, very good roguelite with combat and platform. And Celeste is one of the best platformers I've played. I recommend if you like difficult platformers, allow you not difficult. A lot of the difficulty can be what you want. A lot of the collectibles are optional, so if you want to go through hard platforming sections, you can. Otherwise, you can just go through and experience this cute little story about overcoming personal demons.
Yeah, that definitely seemed like a game I should get into.
Celeste,
Yeah.
any other comments on 2018 from people?
It was a fantastic year. I actually had to think like 8 games I wanted to put on there.
It was a weird year for me.
I had an amazing year for games.
And again, Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, so I can't complain.
2019.
So,
Rolf's first game was Kingdom Hearts 3, already talked about.
yeah.
Next.
And then my other game can be described in a single word, which, if you get it, you understand. If you don't, then, Honk. Untitled Goose Game. Fantastic. It's a little puzzle game. It's a great day, and you're a horrible goose, and your goal is just be an asshole. So it's perfect for me.
It's what's really good about it is you're basically causing benign mischief. You're inconvenient. It's not like you're being a complete asshole like a Grand Theft Auto or a Saints Row.
True.
You're very much being a complete
Well,
asshole.
It's not violent.
Oh, it's not violent
Right.
most of the time.
It's just like malicious pranking for the most part.
I mean, you can trap a little boy in a phone booth.
Yeah. Apart from the kid, okay, fine. Kid, you can bully into a phone. But the rest of it's like,
I feel like that kid might commit suicide. Like, that's how much
I'm gonna drop
bully
your-
him.
I'm going to drop your rake in a lake. I'm gonna tip over your vape.
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
There's a
I'm
lot.
gonna
you can
shatter
do.
everything you own.
There's so much you can do. That's just an asshole.
It's a really enjoyable, like, 5-hour game.
Yeah,
It's really cathartic.
I have it on the Switch. I love it.
I need to.
All right.
Now, let's start with Marsh. I don't want to take his last game.
All right, Marsh.
I mean, we were all going to be talking about, well, not all of us, at least. Well, actually, 3 of us, since Jama has just picked this game up. It's
I'm
Fire Emblem Three
debating
Houses.
it, but
What is the game, Marsh?
Fire Emblem Three Houses. Yeah. So, it's got your basic Fire Emblem strategies as far as, like, how the actual battle system goes. They've added a couple things to it, like the battalions and whatnot they can use to, well,
Beef up some units.
yeah, beef them up a little bit, and mostly when, like, the enemies use it, it's mostly more to ruin your day and inconvenience you than to actually impart damage, it feels like. I guess it depends on how much you've built up, which I tend to do a decent bit of.
They're basically like mercenary troops you can assign to your unit.
Exactly. Another thing I've actually liked about this that I actually recently just discovered through my second playthrough of the game. Between the three houses, like the first part of the story, it's
Very similar.
pretty similar. It's like up until like a certain point, like it's pretty much exactly the same thing. But when they split, it gets a hell of a lot different. Like the first one I played, I'm not gonna spoil anything since John was just starting to play it, and it is still a new game. First one I played through, went with Black Eagles. That
Okay.
one I discovered has two different paths you can take. I'm not gonna say what they are. The second one I'm doing right now is with the Blue Lions with Dimitri. The second part of the story is a hell of a lot different.
Yeah,
A
it
lot
is.
of things I didn't expect to happen.
Everything's completely different.
Oh yeah. Like so that really makes me looking forward to like the other two. It's like I want to know what the hell is going on here. This is kind of screwed up.
This
Like
game just has so much content to it.
oh yeah, and it's entirely voice acted. Like every single line is voice acted.
And it's amazing because like it just gives the characters each more.
Oh yeah,
Like
it's done well.
it's done extremely well.
What I'm hearing is I'm gonna have to pick this game up.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
It's
dude.
good. It's good. Like even if you don't care for the gameplay, just like do easy and casual and just play through for the story. It's good. And like I said there, with casual, you can play it either normal or casual. Where normal is your characters when they die, they're gone. That's it. That's all she freaking wrote. Casual, it's a lot nicer to you. If they get knocked out, they don't die. They just retreat and they'll be back for you the next round. I kind of like that they've been adding that recently, since with I mean a lot of the other games when I was playing them when I was younger,
Microphone
like I'd have
activated.
a couple characters I really liked, and when they get killed, it's like, well, I guess I'm resetting the entire level. But along with that, they also added the Divine Pulse, which lets you actually turn back time. So if something really bad happens, I mean, you using one pulse, you can go from like as far as in the battle you are to the very beginning to completely restart it in that
Yeah,
sense too.
which allows you to make different decisions, which helps sometimes. Like if you accidentally get crit, then you're like, okay, time to restart this turn so that person doesn't get crit.
Right. Well, yeah.
So you
depending
can
on
turn
if it
back
does it.
time. You can find a way.
Oh yeah.
There's something like that in Into the Breach too. That like start a turnover because once you lock a move in that game, it's set. Like fair.
Right. Held up.
Yeah, I'm looking
held up.
forward to playing more Three Houses. It's Fire Emblem with a dash of Persona stuff added.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
more
yeah.
focus.
The nickname me and my roommates called it before it came out was Trails of Persona Emblem. Because
That's a mouthful.
it kind of takes other aspects from Trails of Cold
Other
Steel.
games.
And so we just called it that because it's those three games in one. Sorry, it was just
Playing the bit of Three Houses I have makes me excited to pick up my copy of Pokemon Rush Sessions because that's just Persona by way of Fire Emblem. It leans in the opposite direction where it's more Persona than Fire Emblem. All right, D&D, what you got?
Alright, I gotta start off. So, Devil May Cry 5. There aren't many, not, I guess, gory games that I play. It has so much personality. If you just watch the intro cutscene they showed at EVO, not EVO, wow, E3, you get to see just how much character there is in it. And this game is a standard, like, hack and slash, not standard, it's a brawler, essentially, combo brawler, and you get to pull off some of the sickest moves. Every character has so many different things because you can play as 3 different characters throughout the game. One of them has a whole bunch of different stuff that interacts with his arm. One of them just a whole bunch of summoning stuff, and then another one has different weapons as well as 4 different modes of attacking. Just really, really cool. And the music is amazing as well. Like I've listened to Devil Trigger a lot because that's the main theme. but you get to watch Dante put on a hat and dance. It's a good time.
What?
Look up
Much like the
Dante
Persona,
hat DMC5 and you will not be disappointed, Marsh.
much like the Persona series, Devil May Cry runs on pure style.
Yeah, it does. And it has a shit ton of it. And next on my list, I had Astral Chain, which came out in August. Actually, came out on my birthday. But
Interesting. I think I got some mixed reviews.
I really enjoyed it.
A platinum.
So you take I guess I can't reference that unless people know what it is. But you take you're a cop, and then at some point you get access to this persona looking thing, and so the game, you're controlling both of them at the same time. Like you could, after you're locked onto someone, because there's nothing left to do with the right stick, you're controlling your other person. That moves the other person now that you can no longer move the camera because you're locked on. I thought that was a really cool mechanic to start with. And there's a whole bunch of different things you can do about that. Because there's a chain attached between you two, like if you go around them, you'll like chain them together and you can get a whole bunch of damage in. If you want a really stupid good time, there's a 2-player option. And only one of you controls movement and the other person controls the camera, which is cancer. But
That is definitely cancer and a half right there.
it's stupid and funny. The story's all right. The music, if you look up Dark Hero, that's a good song. Basically every single game that I play has to have one good song. But it's a really good song. I would recommend out of 10. And then the final game on my Games of the Decade list is a Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. This, like we were talking about before, is a Kickstarter game. I think I funded it in 2016 or 2015, either or. What it is, it's a testament to Symphony of the Night for PlayStation from Castlevania. And that's how it
You mean
started
a
out.
tribute?
And they did a wonderful job on it.
A tribute, yeah. Also, best Castlevania game ever, IMO.
I mean, yeah. But Ritual of the Night is just insane. It does everything that Symphony of the Night did. I would not recommend getting the Switch version.
Did they ever fix the Switch performance
I
stuff?
don't know.
I know they had patches coming out.
Someone bought it for me for PC after I finished the Switch version, so that's where I use it now. Because the Switch version is just bad.
Rip.
It's
Okay, it did get a new performance patch
okay, good. Might try that out later just for the heck of it. But
with update. That came out 2 days ago.
the game is
They've had a couple
engaging. There's a whole bunch of hidden secrets. You can control a wide slew of weapons. There's, I think, 18 different types of weapons. You get to have guns as well. It's just
Kinda get a vibe from it that's closer to the Soma Castlevania games for the Game Boy Advance. Yeah, then with the dash of, because that basically was the Symphony of the Night formula, but with a different protagonist who got powers from defeating it.
yeah, I guess that's closer. I haven't played that one, so I didn't think of it. But yeah, it's a fantastic game. Would recommend. Waiting for them to add 2-player in because that's part of their Kickstarter. But yeah, those are my games of the decade.
So, on my list, besides Mario Maker 2 and Pokemon Sword, we have indie games. First, we're going to go with Disco Elysium, which is the most RPG I've ever played in a game. Probably ever. So, Disco Elysium is a pretty detective story where your character has amnesia from binging general shithead. It's all narrative based. There's no like shooting, making a ton of decisions. The game will actually track what stats you take and what like perks they're essentially what perks you take, because your stats will start to talk and give you insight in the situation. So you'll be having a conversation with someone, all of a sudden they'll mention something, and say you have a high encyclopedia skill. You'll get a very dry, matter of fact block of text that just explains the details of something. or if you have high drama, you'll be able to be like, is this? It'll passively tell you if this person's lying, or it'll come up with like a dramatization for you, or it gives you extra dialogue options, increases your ability to pass guilt. If you like, it plays like a Neverwinter Nights Baldur's Gate isometric RPG, just without the combat at bombed out like post-socialist war type. There's even an achievement for being like if you decide to take all the centrist options, the game basically calls you a shithead for it, for being like, well, you got to see both sides of everything, and like, yeah, you got to listen to that fucking racist up there. That's real cool of you. Um, so you can play it. There's so many different build options to help you get through the game. Just mainly solve the mystery of this murder. Really cool, really good. I'd recommend it if that's interesting.
Wait, does the game insult you more if you go centrist rather than go against an
Yes.
obvious villain? Or go with an obvious villain?
Yes,
Jesus Christ.
because normally people will side, like, you'll still get called out for being a shithead, but the achievement is called World's Worst Centrist. There isn't an achievement for absolute shit.
Oh.
That's really sad.
But, you know, the world will treat you poorly if you act like a fucking racist. You know? Your companion will start to treat you worse. And your companion in this game is possibly one of the companions I've seen. That's just a good companion character. He's interesting, acts of the world. He's connected by your behavior a lot of times. So, last game on my list is Hypnospace Outlaw. Is another. It's kind of like a puzzle game. It takes place inside of a representation of 90s internet culture. Basically, hey, look, you're exploring GeoCities. For better, for that means embedded music on websites, bright pop art graphics, and you're working as basically a cyber cop trying to crack down on something. Take some turns. Fun game. You have to do a lot of typing and searching the internet in game to find out find like different groups and pages. It's very stylish. It's very not what I expect from a video game. Enjoyed it a lot.
Heck yeah.
Those are my of 2018. So, real quick, to wrap this all up, I've finished. What's your game of the decade or game series? What defines it for you?
The Legend of Heroes.
Yeah, that one was pretty obvious on him. Heck, I've got two, honestly. For relaxation, easily Stardew Valley. Hands down. As far as like actual like RPG elements is what I mostly look forward to. I'd have to say Fire Emblem easily. I know it came out at the end of the it came out at the end of the decade, but easily well way to end it.
Besides Awakening, the most accessible Fire Emblem.
Oh yeah.
It's actually even more accessible than
Oh, definitely.
Prof.
This is such a hard question.
I'll give you another moment. Just say mine was Undertale because of the way it changed. You know, after that, a ton of games started doing what with the meta example. Just could change how a lot of people thought about games. Just like how a lot of indie games formed after people played a certain game, like Minecraft got all crafting games.
Yeah.
Undertale had the same. If I was going for just straight cultural impact, I would have said Minecraft, but personally, it's
There's just... See, the problem I have is there are 3 games that I've easily spent the most time with. 2 of which I would 100% go back to. In fact, I'm going back to them still.
Persona and Fire and Hyrule.
Yeah, exactly. Like Borderlands 2, I spent so many hours in, like hundreds of hours. But I don't think I'd go back to it because pre-sequel was meh. I have no real interest in playing 3 because like I've heard just so many mixed things about it, and the whole Epic Game Store being cancer. I know it's out on Steam, I think now, but still, Epic Game Store's cancer.
I wasn't sure if you were going to say one of Doom in your list too, because that was
I want
That
to
was
see how
considered-
Doom Eternal turns out before, because like Doom, I love Doom, but I didn't spend a metric ton of time on it. I beat it and then kind of was put it down. But Hyrule Warriors, I bought 3 times. Persona 5, I
Like-
I bought twice, both versions that have come out, basically. And I'm gonna be picking up Persona 5 Scramble when that comes out.
Oil.
Yeah, I know. Persona 5 Scramble is probably going to be like the game for me as long as it has an adventure mode thing like Hyrule Warriors does.
Will have the. But it might actually for Mementos.
Yeah, it could do like Mementos or something. I didn't even mention adventure mode for Hyrule Warriors. It's just like a metric fuck ton of missions that are not story. It's so much to do.
Mhm.
But yeah, I guess I'd probably go with Persona 5. Because I've been missing a good RPG since Tales of Vesperia. And P&D's gonna get mad at me for saying that.
Hey, if they put the Trails games on the Switch, I'd be more inclined to play them.
Cold Steel 3 comes out on the Switch on March 24th.
Oh, cool! The third game in a series. Great.
And I've heard some things about the team that is localizing it. I don't. Yeah,
And-
just Persona 5, fantastic game. Gonna play through it a 3rd time, probably a 4th time eventually.
Those are. Thank you for sitting through all of this. Covered more years and only like less than 20 minutes extra time from the first one. So good job, guys.
Well, we didn't start
Yeah.
with P&D going on for a long time. No offense, P&D.
I'm offended.
Well,
That's unfortunate.
that's too bad for you.
Well, maybe we'll have to do this again sometime. That's not in 10 years.
Right.
I don't want to
What
see you
for no-
guys again for another 10 years. Get the fuck out.
Well,
Right.
I was saying podcast,
Oh,
but
yeah.
sure, that too.
Yeah.
I'm always down to do podcasts.
No, we try to play games and win, lose, tie. We're going to sign off. Have a good one.
Later.
Have a
Bye.
good one, y'all.